Welcome to the class of Social Science for class 8. The name of the chapter is Secularism, chapter number 2 of Civics. I repeat, Secularism is the name of the chapter number 2 for Civics. Now, in the contents of this chapter, we are going to discuss about the introduction. What do you mean by secularism? Philosophy of secularism, secularism and the Indian Constitution, the conclusion of this chapter, and we are also going to learn about few key terms in a form of a glossary of this chapter. Coming for the introduction, the term secular means to separate, from religion and having no religious basis. Now it means that secular word is actually the word where we are not mentioning or defining what sort of the religion is, what sort of the religious activity is related to, and what sort of religious basis, any other criteria regarding the human beings. A secular person is one who does not owe his moral values to any religion. Now it means that, for example, being a Hindu, I know I'm a Hindu, but I am a secular person. Now secular person over here means that I do respect and regards for every religion, every religious basis or any other religious activity. I don't think that I am a Hindu, so I'm not going to wish or talk to any Muslim community or to any Christianity community or any Sikh community. No. Being a secular person, I am respecting and talking and believing in all the scenarios of different religions, His values are the product of his rational and scientific thinking. As don't keep in mind that you are from a Hindu community or a Muslim community. Keep in mind you are a human being, and also make that the person who is standing in front of you is a human being. He is not a Hindu, he is neither a Hindu nor a Christian nor a Muslim, but he is just simple a human being. Secularism means separation of religion from the political, economic, social and cultural aspects of life, religion being treated as a purely personal matter, Now students, look and keep in mind always, religion is always kept in a personal basis, I'm an Hindu, it's my personal thing, but I am a citizen of this country, I am a human being, So be a secularism makes you separate from all the bad evils which has been present in the scenario of the situation of the country, Especially, it makes separated religion from the political aspects, economical, social and also the cultural aspects of life. It emphasizes disassociation of the state from religion and full freedom to all religions and tolerance of all religions. Yes, it used to emphasize you to respect and believe all religions, respect and believe all the religious activities and the religious scenario or the ceremonies, of every religion, not only of your own religion, but of every religion who ever been present inside this country or in this whole world, They also makes you feel very happy when you are celebrating. Just imagine when you are celebrating in your school campus, whenever it's Eid is coming or any Christmas is coming, you are celebrating those functions inside your school. Now at that time you are really enjoying the activities of that particular religion. Why so? Because you are being in a part of a secular state, Yes, you are living in a secular country, and as being enjoying your secularism, so you are enjoying the religions also, you are enjoying their cultural activities also. So it used to emphasize for a good moral aspects. It also stands for equal opportunities for followers of all religions, and no discrimination or partiality is done on the backgrounds of the religion. Now it means that secularism is also means and it gives you an opportunity, equal opportunity for every field, for every religion in every aspect. Take an example of your school. Now in your school there are people who are from the Hindu community. There are people from the Muslim community also, and there are people from the Sikh community also. And few of the people, they are also believing in the Christian community. So they all are working together in one place. Now over there, do you find any sort of discrimination work? No, there is no discrimination work. Even in a classroom also, you are having a classroom, classmates from different religions, okay? So there it means that it gives you an equal opportunity for every citizen of its particular state, of its country, of its nation, and of the people of the world. Now, coming to the aspect of the philosophy of Indian secularism. The term secularism is akin to the Vedic concept of dharma nirpekshita. Okay, dharma nirpekshita over here means where you are not going to concern about any of the particular or follow any particular dharma. Your dharma is the dedication or the work towards your nation, towards your citizen. Over here, neither you are a Hindu, nor a Muslim, nor a Christian, or nor a sect. Okay, that is indifference of the state to religion. This model of secularism is adopted by Western societies, where the government is totally separate from religion. Okay, separation of church and the state is nothing over there. Fine. Now, Indian philosophy of secularism is related to Sardhar Sambhav. Now, Sardhar Sambhav over here means that you have to pay respect for every and individual religion whoever been present inside your country. It is related to every and each criteria of every traditional aspects of different religions, the people, religious people who are living inside your own country. Okay, so you have to follow each and every path of those. Okay, now you are able to see that in India is actually said to be a very wide area of the secularism state. Why so? Because India is only a particular country where a variety of the religion, variety of the cultures are being found. Every state is having their own tradition, their own culture, their own outfits also. Okay, every state is also enjoying their different varieties of the people living at one place. Okay, you will not find that Hindus are living in Uttar Pradesh, the Muslims are living in only the Bihar side. No, not like that. Every state is enjoying different types of assets. So every state they are having the church also, the mosques also, the temples also, and even the gurdwaras also. Why so? Because every community is been residing in every state. Now, it means that this concept is embraced and promoted by the personalities like Vivekananda and Mahatma Gandhi. This is called positive secularism. Now, the people like Mahatma Gandhi and Swami Vivekananda, they all really focused on the secularism and made that every religion is equal. Every religion people is equal. We are only the human beings, nothing else. We are not Hindu nor Muslim. Okay. They reflect the dominant ethos of the Indian culture. Obviously, they are the people who really made the people aware about the secularism. India does not have any official state religion. Yes, India does not have any particular state religion. That in India, the religion is Hindu or the main religion is Muslim. No, India is a secular state where all religions are one. Okay, however, on the basis of your personal aspects, you can make the division. That is on your own matter. For example, at the time of marriage, okay, at the time of divorce, at the time of inheritance of the property, okay, and asking for any alimony. This is dividing from individual religion to religion. For example, in Hindus, we are taking the divorce officially by the court. Okay, in a Muslim religion, previously the husband used to give the divorce on the basis of the 3 words, whatever they used to say. Okay, and now for the property inheritance, obviously it was a very different scenario in every aspect. But this is only on the personal basis, not on the state level, not on the national level. Okay, so national or the state is totally being separated from the religions, from the non-secularism policy. Now, coming to the part of secularism and the Indian Constitution. There is a clear incorporation of all the basic principles of secularism into various provisions of our Constitution. The term secular is added to the preamble by the 42nd Constitution Amendment Act of 1976. I repeat, the secular word is being added in the 42nd Second Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976. In which year? 1976. In what term? In which Amendment Act? The 42, okay? 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, okay? And what has been amended over there? The word secular is been added in our constitution. India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic nation, okay? It emphasizes the fact that consequently India is a secular country which has no state religion. So every state has to be free from the religion. They are not going to prominent or promote any particular religion inside the state. And the state shall recognize all the aspects of all religion. Okay, now what does it mean? It means that they have to follow and they have to respect each and every religion, all the religious people living inside their particular state. Okay, they are not going to give any priority or promote any particular religion. While Article 14 grants equally before the law and equal protection for all religion, okay? In our constitution, Article 14 gives you equality of religion. It means that every religion is equal, every religion tradition are equal. No person can force anyone to adopt any particular religion without their own wish or will. Now students, what does it mean? See, I want to tell you, I am being a Hindu, I am a Hindu, but in future, I am planning to adopt the Christianity religion. So I am very free to adopt the Christianity religion and no one can force me that no, you are a Hindu, you cannot go for the Christianity religion. Yes, I can do so. As being the right of religion, so I have the authority, I have the constitutional right that I can change up my religion and I can go for the Christianity religion. Now, Article 15 enlarges the concept of secularism to the widest possible extent by prohibiting discrimination on the ground of religion, caste, sex and the place of birth. Now here what does it mean? Here it means that Article 14 not only gives you the equality before the law but also gives you the equality that no one can discriminate you on the basis of your religion, caste, sex and place of birth. I have born in Aligarh. Aligarh is a place which is mostly related on the base of the Muslim community. It does not mean that I am going to be discriminated from the society. That doesn't mean the place of birth, the sex, the caste, the race and the religion does not stand anywhere for finding out any discrimination towards me. Now, Article 16.1. 16.1 guarantees equality of opportunity to all the citizens in matter of the public employment, okay? And it reiterates that there would be no discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, descent, place of birth, and the residence. Now, what does it mean? It means that Article 16.1 tells you and guarantees you that you are not going to be discriminated at any point, okay? Over there, it means that it's about if it is related to the part of a job or related to the part of any of the any sector or any of the work, you will not be discriminated from your position, okay? For your position, according to your capability and your educational qualification and your skills, you are going to get the opportunity very easily. Article 25 provides you the freedom of conscience. That is, all the persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience and right to freely profess, practice and propagate religion. Okay, it means that Article 25 reveals you and gives you the authority that you will be able to live your religion very happily and peacefully. No one is going to interfere in between your work. As per Article 26, every religious group or individual has a right to establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purposes and to manage its own affairs in the matter of religion. Now, according to the Article 26, it has been said that every religious group or the people are being given the freedom to enjoy the religion. Okay, if they want to do any of the cultural activities, also they want to establish any institution regarding for the promotion of their religion, of course they can do. I'm just giving an example, just like as you have seen the people used to establish or make temples. Okay, they have been authorized, they have been given the freedom to make temples, some mosques. Okay, and sometimes you have also seen that the Jain mandirs, okay, the satsang bhavans, they are also being constructed by the human beings itself on paying regards to the god or paying regards to their guru or whatever it is. Okay, why they are able to do so? Because they have got this freedom from the article number 26, and by which they are being able to I can say propose, or I can say give the freedom, or give the make the people aware about their religion, the good terms of their religion. Okay, practice more and more of the religion cultural activities in front of the society. As per Article 27, the state shall not compel any citizen to pay any sort of taxes for the promotion or the maintenance of any particular religion or religious institutions. Now, according to the Article 27, it has been said that the government cannot force any person or any group who is being indulged in any sort of religious activities or religious institutions for making them or for compelling them to pay taxes. Okay, they cannot force them to pay tax regarding their work, religious work. Why so? Because as per the secular state is concerned, the secularism is concerned, the people have the right to respect and regards every religion and their initial work also regarding the tradition and the culture. So according to that, as per that, it has been said that according in Article 27, that government cannot compel or government cannot force any citizen to pay any sort of taxes. If just imagine I'm doing the Durga Puja, so over there the government cannot ask me that as you have decorated the pandals and you have brought such a big statue of Goddess Durga, so you have been authorized to give you have been compelled or forced to give the tax to the government. No, they cannot do so with me. So this is Article number 27. Now, what actually have we understood in Article 61? It's given the opportunity that discrimination will not be done on the basis, especially in the field of employment, on the basis of religion, caste, color, sex. Okay. Now, Article 25 gives you the freedom of conscience that you can enjoy your religion. Article 26 also gives you the authority that they have the right to establish any of the religious institution or religious sculptures or anything like that. Okay, in just to promote up your religion. Article 27 gives you the authority that government and give the foundation to the government that they are not being allowed to pay any sort of tax. They are not being compelling the people to pay any sort of tax who are busy with their religious work, or they are being promoting or keeping maintenance of their religious activities. Now, Article 28. Article 28 also allows educational institutions, okay, they also cannot make you discriminated from getting the rights of education, okay, on the basis of your religion or a caste or a creed. So every religion community, every caste, every creed community can have the authority or have the right to go for the for the educational sector and provide and get the education development for their own personal, on the personal basis, on the professional basis also. Okay, Article 29 and 30 provides you the cultural rights too, especially to an educational right, especially to the minorities. Minorities, you know, the people or the group of people who have been discriminated from the society, either it's coming for the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribes, or also the women who have been coming in the minority sector. Article 51A, that is the fundamental duties obliges all the citizens to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood, and to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Now, Article 15A, which is telling you about your fundamental duty, that you have to respect and pay regards to every religion, every culture related to our own citizen related to our country. It is your duty to maintain peace and harmony inside the country. No conflict should be done by you as being the citizen of India on the basis of the religion, sex, color, creed, etc. or any of the traditional activity. Now, finally, let's continue with the conclusion. Secularism is actually, the students, a very important aspect for India, because if India becomes a religious state, it will stop us from sharing new thoughts and new readings about different religions, and we will lose our analyzing capability and scientific outlook also, and the politics will be hijacked by the clerical class, okay, and which is going to be very, very dangerous for any of the nation, because clergy will damage the nation by their financial actions and spreading the hate against each other, okay. It means that if there will be no secularism, the rich class people, the high class people, or the people who are on the high level, for example, if we consider in India, usually the Hindu religion are on the majority basis. Now Hindus are on the majority basis, so what will they do? They will enjoy some privileges, okay, for instance their birth. So over there the other religions are going to be get hampered, and they are going to be really be in trouble, okay. They also, the Hindus maybe also they can spread up some of the nuisance or some of the wrong activities and make them other religions to go in the very downward area, okay, where they have to survive and struggle a lot for their own position, okay. So it is very important to keep separate religion from the state, okay. So understand this line. So it is very important to keep religion separate from the state. It means that when you are residing in a state, you are a simple the citizen of the state, nor you are a Hindu, nor a Muslim, nor any following any other religion, okay, any other tribal things or any other community or the traditional aspect. You are Hindu, you are Muslim, you are Sikh on your personal basis, not on the level of the state, not on the level of the nation. Now finally comes to the glossary. In the glossary we are going to read about some special words, that is said to be the tolerance. Tolerance means understanding and forbearance. It means that where you are able to understand the views or the points or opinions of other people and try to follow those in your own life, okay. Theocratic means, if regarding to the state, it is an official religion, okay, where all the religions are coming at one place. Eliminate, it means to take away or remove from, okay, make separated from each other. Norms, which means the guiding rules by which the people used to follow in future, okay, we have to follow this rule. For example, the rules of your school. Every day, whenever the new student come, these are the norms of the school and you have to follow. So you are also following, and in the future classes also you are going to follow the same norms, okay. Now conduction means the action or the practice of the persuading someone to do something by using force or threat. Okay, now what does it mean? It means you are pressurizing any person to follow the Hinduism religion. You are telling any Muslim religion person to follow the Hindu religion. As we are the Hindu, we are the superiority over here. We are in the majority over here, so you have to follow the Hinduism religion too. Or Muslim religion are forcing other people to follow the same. So this is something said to be the correction. Now, intervene means to interfere in some other works. I am an Hindu, another one is a Muslim person, and he is following the tradition by their own, and I am following my tradition. At the time I am doing my prayer, I just heard the noise of the voice, the good voice of the Nawaz done by the Muslims. So over there I am interfering their work. Don't do the Nawaz right now because I am here and I am doing my worship. So this is something is said to be the intervene. Now intervene is very different word from the correction. So please make sure don't mix these two words with each other. Okay, and I hope now with this presentation you are able to understand that what do you mean by secularism, and why do the secularism is a basic aspect or the importance of the secularism in India especially. Okay, and what are the things and what are the articles which are been mentioning the secularism has to be the priority one. Okay, according to the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act done on the 1976, it has totally been clear that India is a secular state and every religion is superior, every religion has some importance, and every religion has to be paid respect and regards by each and individual citizen of this country. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day ahead.